This is a podcast all about Bears. You either cheering for this team or just pulling your hair. I like to take a minute, just sit right back and tell you how I became the #1 Bears fan. That boy is Benny Hunter. Cake on the mic, cake on the mic, cake on the mic, cake on the mic. People, this the intro. Sacramento, California, born and raised. And Antelope is where I spend most of my days. Talk bad about my team, you must be a clown. This is Keek on the mic, so you know you better bear down. Bear down.
Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. Like always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. We are on to week 11, and the Chicago Bears are 3-7, heading to Atlanta to take on the 4-6 Falcons. And once again, I am joined by Isaiah Frey. How you doing, Isaiah?
Good, I'm good. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there. You know, this rebuild is tough sometimes. And it gets disappointing when you have a chance to win and you don't get it done. But at the end of the day, you're like, okay, now we have better draft position. That leads me on to my first point. The Chicago Bears blew a 24-10 lead against the Detroit Lions to drop to 3-7 last week. What is your initial reaction to that loss to the Lions?
It sucked, man, because it was winnable more than anything. You going in the fourth quarter with 13 minutes to go and you're up 24-10. You should win that game.
Yeah.
But it's just small stuff, man. It's small stuff that's taking them away from these wins. You know, pick six, obviously, misplays on the defensive end of the ball. So they just got to clean those things up, man. And that's the difference between being a playoff team and being in rebuild mode, honestly. So. Yeah.
And obviously you can't judge Justin Fields' success off of wins and losses this year. We understand that. Justin Fields is still playing lights out. And this is still the most fun I've had watching a Bears offense in a long time. It would be nice to win a game here or there, to learn how to win, right? To learn how to finish these games. And like you mentioned, this is how you know that there's a difference between being a playoff team to where the Bears are right now, because they're still making those big mistakes that are ultimately cost them these games.
Yeah, it's big mistakes, and I think the good thing that's happening right now for the Bears is those mistakes are being made by young players.
Yes,
which is, you want those mistakes to happen now in a year like this, you know. That ball that Justin Fields threw, he knows, but he shouldn't throw that pick six. Right. That was big. Kyler Gordon, getting that penalty after Jared Goff scrambling out of bounds. That's a penalty that we don't need to have in the fourth quarter. So those are things that happen to young players, but it's good as happening now. Get it all out your system. By the time next year comes, man, they're savvy and veteran ready for that.
And overall, I know we ask this question every week. As long as not only Justin Fields, but even the young players are getting 1% better each week, then I'm fine with that. And of course, it sucks that to see the Bears to be 3-7. I can't lie, it does suck. But at the end of the day, we do end up getting better draft position because we lost. And Justin Fields is playing lights out. So to me, and it should be to many other Bears fans, that's kind of like a moral victory.
Oh yeah, everybody hates losing, right? Everybody hates losing. But if there's a way to lose, you know what I mean? It's not like they're out there getting destroyed every week. They're out there, man, losing winnable games right now. But in hindsight, it's kind of like a good thing, right? Because they are improving their draft position for next year. And, that's going to be big for them next year. So if there's a way to lose, everybody hates losing. But this would be the way to go out.
Yeah, exactly. And Isaiah, last week we talked about LaShawn McCoy, and how he came out and made the bold statement. He's a former player. You're a former player. So I want to give you the stand right now. And I'm going to tell you what he said this week about last week's performance. He was basically saying, still standing on his stance. He can't throw the ball, right? He's like, running all around the field is not going to get him anywhere. That's basically the gist of what he said. And he's like, at the end of the day, he's losing. How do you respond to another former player being a former player yourself when he says something like that?
For one, stop making outlandish statements to make headlines. That'd be my first response. But two, they're not losing because of him. And as far as everybody with any type of vision can see, that he is even the reason that they're in these ball games. So it's like for him to say something like that is irritating because you know what it's for. You know, I can guarantee you if he's behind closed door, I can guarantee you saying, "Oh, Justin Fields is the real deal." But we know why he's doing it, man. It's for clicks and shows, and I get it. But it's like, be real about the situation. Dude's out there, he's playing. If you want to be real about the situation, he's playing like a top 5 quarterback in the league right now.
Right.
And you debate that he's top 3 right now, and that's being real. So for him to say that, man, it's just outlandish.
And I think that's what people have to realize about a quarterback like Justin Fields, right? That's the new age quarterback. It's not the Tom Brady's, Aaron Rodgers, right? That are just pocket quarterbacks. There's going to be many other quarterbacks like Justin Fields, like CJ Stroud, Bryce Young coming out. They're all like that. You know, they can run, they can throw. It doesn't matter. And that's what people need to understand. When you look at the total yards of Justin Fields, he's averaging what, 300 plus a game these last 5 games?
Right. Like, what else do you want from him? The reason why he's saying he can't throw is because he's getting so many rushing yards. And it's like, dude, don't do that, man. Like, him more than anybody, don't do that. Because I know why he's doing it, and we won't go down that rabbit hole, but it's like, bro, don't do that, man.
And it's funny because he's the only one that comes out and says that stuff about Justin. When you look at guys like Dan Orlowski, which I take what Dan Orlowski says with a grain of salt too, because he sometimes makes no sense. But he was like, if Justin Fields is with the Philadelphia Eagles, would he be an MVP right now? And I say yes.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, he would. He'd be on what are they, 8-1? He'd be on 8-1 team.
Yeah.
And he's playing better than Jalen Hurts. Don't get me wrong, Jalen Hurts is playing lights out as well. But if you compare the two right now, he's actually playing better with less.
And think about it, Isaiah. If Darnell Mooney catches that ball against the Commanders, and let's say some calls go the Bears' way in terms of penalties, right, against the Dolphins and the Lions, and let's say they're 6-4, 5-5, I guarantee you Justin Fields is in the MVP conversation.
Most definitely. Most definitely. You can look on his fan because I played him a couple of weeks ago. He wasn't on my team. I played against him on fantasy. Dude's just lights out right now, man. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and it just gets me so excited for the future. Once again, we don't like to lose as a fan base, but at the same time, each week he keeps proving that he is going to be the Bears quarterback for a long time. So Bears fans, hang in there. You know, Ryan Poles is doing the right thing, and Justin Fields is balling. At that point, that's a win to me. So,
you know what? Another good thing, I can't remember the guy's name, but I know he was a rookie out there playing linebacker. Dude had I can't remember. Oh man,
yeah,
balling, man.
Yeah,
and that was good. That was encouraging to see.
A lot of young pieces on this team, right? And I feel like with each game, getting these young guys the reps is really, really important. Of course, when the offseason hits, we're going to add those veterans to the team, right? We're going to add some more young guys to the team. But Ryan Poles has this thing set up beautifully. It's going to be beautiful to watch the Bears play football like in 2023 and beyond, you know, and he's trying to create a legit contender that competes every year, not just for 1 year and then they're terrible for the next 4 years, right? He wants to see this team in the playoffs competing for Super Bowls every year.
As he should. I mean, with all the cap space he has and all these young guys out there contributing and getting reps, man, I'd go as far as to say, man, they're almost guaranteed to make the playoffs next year. That's what it's looking like, man. Just it is. It all depends on if he makes the right moves, which I think he will, because up to this point he has.
Right.
I really see them, you know, pushing the win, even winning the NFC North. Possibly, you know, probably more wild card, but even, you know, win NFC North.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And you know, Isaiah, I told you before the podcast that it's getting kind of hard to talk about each game, right? Because you and I, all we care about is how is Justin Fields doing. I know that may seem selfish, but it's the truth, because you and I have been big Justin Fields supporters since day one, even when he was kind of struggling, right? Yep. But let me ask you this. Justin Fields has another opportunity against I would say a very, very winnable or beatable Atlanta Falcons team. What is your initial reaction to this matchup for Justin Fields?
You know, I think he's going to continue to do what he's been doing, right? He's going to light him up. I think the next step in his progress as a quarterback would be when that game is tight in the fourth quarter, man, make those right decisions, man. Those decisions that you know they're going to win the game for you. You know what I mean? Like, of course, throughout the whole game, he's making plays that are lights out.
Right.
When he gets to the quarter, man, it turns into a whole different ballgame.
Right.
You know, you can't take those chances that you took in the first three quarters. Yeah. So, step in the right direction for him would be, you know, if the game's tight, control that ball, make the plays that need to be played, move the ball downfield, control the clock, and then when it's time to come, man, go score, make a play, and win the ball game.
And, you know, I talked a little bit about this after, you know, the Lions game. And I was like, that's the one thing that kind of frustrates me about the Bears offense right now is that they make all these plays during the game. But then when it comes to crunch time, you know, it seems like for Luke Getzey, he keeps Justin Fields in the pocket instead of rolling them out in the big situations, right? The offensive line, you know, crumbles and gives up sacks, right? That's how the game ended last week against the Lions. They gave up 2 sacks in a row, right? Receivers drop wide open, you know. I feel like when it comes to crunch time, the offense isn't getting it done. You know, it's all about execution, and Justin Fields will you know, say that, right? And I agree with you. That's the next step in Justin Fields' development, him being that franchise guy, right? It's good that you're doing all this stuff in the game, right? You know, taking off for 67 yards, you know, throwing deep passes for touchdowns or 3+ touchdowns a game. But when it matters the most, can you get it done in crunch time? And we've seen Justin Fields do it. When you look back at last year, right? Against the San Francisco 49ers, he did it a couple of times. Against the Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday Night Football, he did it. Of course, he did it against the New England Patriots this year, right? In crunch time, right? So for Bears fans, and we already know that he's the guy, but we need to see that next step in his development. Like, can you do it in crunch time as well?
Yeah, and he will. I can guarantee he will. And I'm talking strictly based off his internal makeup, his poise. You know, he already has that natural born poise. That's gonna be easy for him, man. He's just a young guy out there, you know, making mistakes, which is good. We need this right now.
Yeah, but and you know, he will get there. And you know, with each loss, you could just tell he's taking it all in. Yeah. He's using that as fuel, right? And there was like a little report that came out after the game that after everyone left the locker room, Justin Fields was the last one in the locker room. He stayed in his uniform and was just sitting in his locker. That's a different breed, man. That is a different breed. That's a mindset. Like, everyone hates losing, but I really think Justin Fields takes it personal.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't like that feeling. So that's why it's scary hours for not only the NFC North, but the entire league in the future.
Yeah. It is, man. It is. He's the best quarterback in the division right now.
Yes. And that's weird to say.
Yeah. It's weird to say, but let's be real about it. He is the best quarterback in the NFC North right now.
Yeah, I totally agree. And like I said, that's weird to say. And I know that we have a matchup coming up against the Packers in a couple of weeks. I feel like that would be a good game to win because it would be almost like that feeling of, man, the torch has been passed.
That's exactly what it is.
You know what I mean? Like if Justin Fields can beat Aaron Rodgers before Aaron Rodgers leaves Green Bay, it's like, okay, there's a new king of the North, and that is Justin Fields, right? And I know people may be like, why are we talking about Justin Fields so much? Because that's all that matters. The Bears have never had a franchise quarterback. So this is all we need to talk about is how is Justin Fields doing? And quite frankly, Isaiah, when I look at the Atlanta Falcons, this can be another opportunity for him to shine.
Yeah.
It should be another opportunity for him to shine. And the added benefit for Justin Fields in this game is that he's going back to his hometown too. So, you know, his family's going to be there. He's going to want to show out. Yeah. And like I said, even though the losses are stacking up, each week he keeps proving the doubters wrong. And I absolutely love it. I'm absolutely here for it.
Oh, yeah. He's doing a fantastic job. What's encouraging to see too, you see Darnell Mooney getting involved more. You see Cole Kmet getting involved. Guys are starting to ball out, man, and it's all because Justin Fields is opening up that whole offense for everybody. And you already know Khalil Herbert and Montgomery have been balling this whole year, and they have some weapons over there, man. They're looking good.
Right. So Isaiah, there is something that I want to ask you, you know, because obviously you're the defensive guy. And we know that the offense is carrying their weight. But when you look at the Atlanta Falcons, you have a guy in Marcus Mariota that's been kind of up and down. Of course, you have a guys like Cordell Patterson. That's going to be a tough task for the defense, right? He can do everything. He can be running back, receiver, return man, a Swiss Army knife, right? So how can the Chicago Bears defense get back on track against the Falcons?
They have to start creating more turnovers. And, I know that's probably a staple in their philosophy over there, but for them to be, a winnable defense, they need to start creating those plays that's going to help the offense out. I think right now what's going on is the defense is competing hard. Don't get me wrong. They're not playing, out there soft or bad or whatever. They're just not making the plays that need to be made. So when you have opportunities to go up and get the ball for a pick, you got to make that play.
Right.
When guys running through the lane with the ball, carrying it loose, you need to strip the ball and force a fumble. Go force turnovers. You know what I mean? Go create it. So for them to be a winning defense, they need to start doing that more.
Yeah, and, I know a lot of people will say, we did get rid of Roquan Smith, Robert Quinn, two big pieces to our defense. But I feel like our defense needs to get back to the principles of Coach Flus, the hit principles, right? They need to get back to the fundamentals of the game. And I can tell that in these press conferences, Coach Flus is getting probably a little frustrated, because he is a defensive guy. And it's the defense is that side of the ball that's kind of letting the team down right now, which is really weird to say because it's usually flip-flopped, right? But I'm absolutely with you. They need to get after Marcus Mariota. Pressure is key, in any game you play. I feel like when you look at the game against the Lions, Jared Goff had way too much time. And that just seems like it's a defensive line problem, right? So guys like Justin Jones, right? Travis Gibson, Dominique Robertson, you have to get pressure on Marcus Mariota because when you watch Marcus Mariota, especially in the last Thursday night matchup where they lost to the Carolina Panthers, the Panthers did a really good job of maintaining that pressure and making them off rhythm, right? Getting them off rhythm, off balance. And you could tell when he gets off balance, that's when he starts struggling. That's when he starts forcing stuff. That's when the turnovers come in, right? So they need to try to generate pressure.
Yeah, most definitely. And you can see, man, like we talked about before, he's trying, man. He's trying his best. He more blitzes than he's ever had before. And they need to, right? Just because they're a little undermanned on D-line as far as, talent right now. So, you got to start sending those 5-6 guys at the quarter, that ball out quick and to make plays.
Well, you mentioned it before the podcast, though. He does send pressure.
Yeah.
Kyler Gordon has to make that play, right?
That was a perfect call.
Yeah.
For that. You got to make that play, man, for real.
Got to make those plays. And that's just in terms of execution for a young team, learning how to execute on a consistent level and learning how to win at a consistent level too, right? So even though I am digging the draft position right now for the Bears, I do want to see them win a couple of games down the stretch just to get their confidence back up, right? To learn how to win as a young group, right?
Right. Oh yeah, that'd be good for them. It'll happen. They're going to win games down the stretch. They're like right here right now. That's what it is. It's like you think about they're 3-7. They could have easily been 5-5 right now.
They could have, yeah.
Easily. Those two last games were they should have won. Quite honestly.
Yeah.
And look at the other game where Darnell Mooney drops that ball in the end zone. Then you're talking what? 6-4?
6-4. But it's one of those things that does that fit our rebuild, right? Does going to the playoffs this year, does that fit the rebuild, or do you rather have the high draft pick where it's loaded at defense, right? You got I think it's Murphy from Alabama. I think that's his name. And then you got Jalen Carter from Georgia, the defensive lineman. So it's kind of like, it sucks that you're losing, right? But at the same time, you have a franchise quarterback and you're going to have a lot of money to spend and ultimately a lot of draft picks. Because I know what the Bears are going to do. They're probably going to trade down and add, right? So unless the perfect prospect is there, but Ryan Poles is doing this thing right. And like I said, it does suck to lose, but hey, at least we got our franchise quarterback.
Right, it's a quarterback-driven league, man. And the Bears are going to be good for the next decade. So
yeah,
nothing really about.
So Isaiah, I just want to cut to the chase, and I want to ask you 3 keys to a Bears win here.
creating turnovers on defense is number one for me. I think they have to start helping themselves out. They're on the field too much. So they need to go out there and start creating plays for themselves. Two, get pressure on Mariota. He's not his best when he's under pressure, like you said earlier. So they need to start dialing up some blitzes. I mean, they need to continue to dial up blitzes, and the D-line needs to get pressure for 4. And then 3, in crunch time, man, you got to make the plays that need to be made. And I'm not pointing out anybody. I'm just saying, as a whole across the board, those plays need to be made in the fourth quarter. You blitz off the edge, you get a free runner at the quarterback, got to make the play.
Yeah,
the ball, got to make the play.
Yep, I totally agree. And this would be a good day for Justin Fields to shut up some more haters, right? And throw for 250 plus yards with a couple of touchdown passes, right? Because I feel like that's what people are really drilling him about. Like, oh, he only threw for 170 yards, but it's like he threw 3 touchdown passes and ran for 150 with 3 rushing touchdowns. So what else do you need?
What else do you want, man? It's like they don't understand that those rushing yards actually trade off for passing yards. It's like, come on, man. Like, you can't have everything.
No. For me personally, I would really like to see some plays on the special teams. Maybe Velus Jones comes back, right? I know that Khalil Herbert is now out on the IR, so maybe Velus Jones comes out, hopefully contributes on special teams, but we need some big plays on special teams. I know I mentioned this to you a lot, but it's 3 phases, and special teams is one of the phases that's also been kind of struggling for the Bears, kind of been up and down all year. Maybe some big special teams plays that kind of help the Bears out this Sunday.
That's why they lost, right? They missed. Did they miss a field goal on their last touchdown?
So Cairo Santos missed the extra point after Justin Fields' touchdown, and so it was 30-24, and then the defense gave up the touchdown. Yep, special teams. Yeah. And I believe that it was earlier in the game, he also kicked the ball out of bounds on the kickoff, so they started on the 40. I believe
that was his first miss, wasn't it?
No, I'm saying that when on the kickoff,
on the kickoff, he kicked it out of bounds.
He kicked it out of bounds, and you start on the 40 when you kick it out of bounds. So special teams is huge, Isaiah. And I know it's like an overlooked thing sometimes, but you shouldn't overlook it. We need some valuable plays from our special teamers this game to help the Bears out. And for me personally, like I said, I don't really have a lot of keys to a Bears win. For me, it's about the development of Justin Fields. And I think I would really like to see Luke Getsy continue to develop him as a passer. And when you're watching Justin Fields, especially as a pocket guy, he's doing really well, hanging in the pocket, going through his reads and delivering a really good ball. Earlier in the season, Justin Fields would just take off. Yeah. And that's not what you want, right? If you're able to stay in the pocket, right? And he's doing a really good job developing as a passer. And for me, as long as Justin Fields gets 1% better, it's a win for me as a Bears fan.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
So, Isaiah, before I let you go, what is your prediction for this Bears versus Falcons matchup on Sunday?
I think it's going to be another barn burner. I think close. I'm gonna say 27-24. I'm going with the Bears this week, man. They gonna pull it. They've been close. 3rd time's a charm, man. They're gonna get this one.
I know, and I told you that I feel like the Bears could go on a little run here because I feel like there's a lot of winnable games, which held true. I truly feel that the Bears, a couple plays here and there, and they close out the game no problem against the Lions, right? But it didn't go our way. It is what it is. We move on. I'm gonna say 30-24 Bears. I'm going to give them 30 points. They've been sitting consistently at that 30 points, but it's like, can the defense make one stop? Can you make that 1 or 2 stops to help out your offense? Because that's what I feel like it would be, just 2 stops.
Yeah.
And I feel like the defense has this weird thing that at the end of the game, they make a play for you, right? But it's too late by the end of the game, right? We need you to make a play early. Start fast, defense, right? Make some plays for your offense to help them out.
Most definitely.
So, what do we need to see from Justin Fields this week? What's your ideal stat line for Justin?
If he had the stat line he had last week, man, he'd be golden. I think the thing, like I said earlier, what I want to see from him, if the game is close, have that game-winning drive, make those plays that need to be made. And on game-winning drives, the 60-yard runs, which we all love, those are fantastic. Those aren't going to happen, right? The game-winning drive plays are going to be the ones where you hit your check down and you're staying ahead of the sticks. You know what I mean? Third and short, you're getting that first down, you're keeping that drive moving. You're in a run, you check out of it because you see a certain coverage that works better against the play. So that's what I would want to see in a perfect world. And I'm being picky as hell right now, but that would probably be it.
I think the one thing I would love to see from Justin is like a 250-yard, 2-touchdown performance, and then maybe like still 100 yards on the ground. I feel like if he did that, there's nothing else you can say.
Right.
There's nothing.
What was the stat line last week? This passing stat line, completions and attempts.
Let's do a little research here live on the podcast. Let me look up last week's stats. So Justin Fields in a losing effort went 12 for 20, 167 yards, 2 touchdowns to 1 interception with a 99.4 passer rating, right? And then when you look at his rushing yards, he added to that passing stat with 13 carries for 147 yards, 2 touchdowns.
So people are saying he can't throw, but yet he's 12 for 20.
Yes.
And they want more yards, but a lot of those yards are getting substituted because he's rushing the ball. You just can't please everybody, man.
And going back to LaShawn McCoy's point, right? He's claiming that he just takes off because that's what he does. These are designed plays for Justin now.
Yeah, the rollout.
He's designing rollout plays where he has the option to either run or throw, right? It's an option for Justin Fields. There is also times where things break down too, right? So he has to take off. But when you look at these stats indicate that Justin Fields has figured it out. He's just absolutely torching defenses. And coming from an offensive guy in LaShawn McCoy, a guy that, quite frankly, was a really good running back in the league, should appreciate something like that, right? You should appreciate what Justin Fields is doing. Even Michael Vick is coming out and saying, yeah, he's the truth, right?
LaShawn's what he's proven right now, and don't get me wrong, LaShawn, I personally think he's one of the best backs we've seen. Dude's a baller, right? But what LaShawn's going on right now, he's not actually watching the game. He's just going against what everybody else is saying. So he can create headlines. If he's watching the game, what he would see is there's times in the game where Justin Fields has to actually move around in the pocket. He doesn't even outside of the pocket.
Yes.
Around the pocket and then reset up on his platform and deliver the ball on a strike. Yeah. Like if a dude that can't throw is not able to do that at all.
No.
So I'm
saying it just doesn't make sense.
No.
Like a guy, and that's why I don't really like stat lines. You can easily look at Justin Fields' stat line and be like, man, 167 yards, that's it? Because we're so used to Patrick Mahomes throwing for 350 plus. Right. But that's not everyone's Patrick Mahomes. Will you ever see Patrick Mahomes run for 178 yards?
Never.
Added on with 170 yards passing with 3 touchdown passes?
Never.
You'll never see that.
Yeah.
So what's your point? And I wish I can go on to one of these shows and it's like, did you watch the game? Or are you just looking at the stat line and just saying, going with it,
Yeah, he don't watch the game, man. You know for a fact he don't, because dude has too much of a live arm for you to sit there and say he can't throw, man. It's unbelievable.
Like I don't get it. And this is, Isaiah, what you call clickbait in the media world. He, like you said, he just wants the views. I've probably been the victim of that here a couple of times, just to say things to get people riled up, right? It works because look I'm riled up. It works. But I'm worked up because it's like it's a lie.
Yeah.
Like if you're saying straight, like if you're sitting here saying the Bears offensive line is not very good, that's true.
Right.
The Chicago Bears defense has been getting gashed. That's a true statement. But to sit here and say that Justin Fields can't throw and all he can do is run, I don't know. His stats speak otherwise.
He wouldn't be saying that if he didn't have those rushing yard stats. Let's just be real about it.
Right. And it's like, what do you want to see? So you rather have Justin Fields throw for 80 yards and win games? So if he wins games, then it's fine.
Right.
But since he is having these stats and they're still losing, which wins and losses is not an individual stat.
Yeah.
It's not on Justin Fields. That's a team stat.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
So that's just my point, and I can go on and on and on about LaShawn McCoy, but at the end of the day, he just doesn't make no sense. Like it don't.
I will say that he's doing his job, man. Cause he got us talking about it. So he did his job. That's exactly what he was. You know, he intended to have people talking about it, and here we are talking about it because he made a out of pocket remark. So kudos to him.
And you're absolutely right. You know, after the cameras are off, he's like, man, that dude's tight.
That dude's tight. Oh, he's saying that. Nobody.
Well, Isaiah, like always, thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully the Bears can bounce back against the Atlanta Falcons and get back on the winning track.
Oh yeah. They're doing good though, man. I mean, you know, defense needs to step up, but they're more than anything, they're out there competing. That's all you can ask, man. These dudes get paid, and they can shut it down for the year when they're out there still playing, man. So it's good to see.
Right. Once again, thanks for joining me, Isaiah.
Yep, no problem.
Before I let you guys go, let me ask you guys this question. Can the Bears get back on the winning side of things when they take on the Atlanta Falcons this Sunday? Let me know down below in the comment section. Before I let you guys go, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms. Make sure you share this episode of Kick on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. But other than that, we'll be back for all new Bears podcasts right here on Kick on the Mic. Thanks, guys. Him Bear now.
You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic. You ain't bout it.